How you doing, buddy? Steve, we don't hear you. I don't know if you got a microphone that's muted or not. All right, it's unmuted now. Nope. We're trying to get Steve Sax right now here. Brett, I don't know if you can hear him. Okay, you're having trouble. Player going to the clubhouse that day, knowing that people that you may have been around for many years, many long-term relationships. He's muted now. Player going to the club. He's muted now. Can we unmute him? Don't know about that. Well, he kicked out.
Trepidation that when they walk into the clubhouse that day. But you guys,
he's trying to unmute himself right now. Yep, we got to unmute him.
Live during.
I know it's a busy schedule for you. Steve,
no worries.
Tell us about trade deadline day. I mean,
well,
you've been involved in it. What's it like as a player going to the clubhouse that day, knowing that people that you may have been around for many years, many long-term relationships could be leaving you that day?
Yeah, it's a bit tenuous time for these guys. I mean, you know, I do the Saturday TV games for the Giants AAA team here, the Sacramento River Cats, and those guys are the same way because you get it on both sides. You get guys in AAA that may be traded for somebody. You get the guys in the big leagues that might be moved from to another team. So you got not only guys in the big leagues that are thinking about that and all the trepidation that when they walk into the clubhouse that day, but you got guys in the minor leagues as well that might be involved in a trade. So it's pretty widespread. It's kind of a tenuous time.
Yeah, Steve, you're right. And the one thing that I really wanted to ask you about and pick your brain about, because I'm, of course, there's a bit of an age gap, no disrespect to Larry, but I was not alive during the golden years, so to speak, for you in the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm only 25, but
yeah, right.
my father being a huge Cardinals fan was, of course, in tune to your battles in the NL West back in the day. But what was it like to be on a team like that at this time of year was always in contention? And what was it like to walk into the clubhouse this time of year and have a guy like Tommy Lasorda, whose sole focus every single day was, no matter how good we are, we still have to find a way to be better?
Yeah, that was good. And that was a good driving force for our team. Now, Tommy made the environment in the clubhouse, let the guys be themselves, the guys get around a lot and whatnot. But when it came time for the game, I mean, guys would have ran through a wall for him. And that's why we played the way we did. We played hard because Tommy let the environment be what it is. And so it was a good thing. But it's funny you mentioned the Cardinals, because at this time of year, I believe in '88, we made that trade with the Cardinals, with John Tudor came over and Guerrero went over to St. Louis. That was a big, big difference for us to add a big shot in the arm to our staff. John Tudor wasn't quite healthy, but he still gave us some significant innings down the stretch that's really helped us.
And that much like right now, Steve, Larry, if I can, that much like right now was a down, unexpectedly down season for St. Louis. John Tudor was a Whitey Herzog target for how Busch Stadium played dimension-wise, and he helped the Dodgers a ton down the stretch.
Absolutely right. And I can remember those days of facing John Tudor. He was just this tremendous changeup, which really kind of made him pitch backwards, if you will, because his fastball was complemented by the great changeup that he had. Usually when somebody has a great fastball, the changeup is a great complement to that. But John Tudor kind of worked the other way, and it certainly worked for him. He was very much a spot pitcher and got you to, try to grab the bat and rip it. Of course, you wound up hitting a ground ball to shortstop. You had a nice, comfortable 0 for 4. And that's the way it was with facing John Tudor.
Hey, Steve, I want to ask you this because I do remember 1981 when you came up. I was in high school, actually. But a lot of people forget in 1981, you won a World Series champion without being labeled a rookie because you didn't qualify for whatever they call that year of service. And then in 1982 was your rookie year. You ended up winning Rookie of the Year. But before you took over second base, and no disrespect to you, the Dodgers had what they call one of the best infields of all time. They had Ron Save, Bill Russell, Dave Lopes, and Steve Garvey, as you know. How much pressure did you feel trying to fill Davey Lopes' shoes?
Well, first of all, let me say this. In 81, when we actually won it, I must have been a ghost because, technically it wasn't my first year. So did I really play? Oh, I think I did. But so I was able to get a ring without even really having my first year yet. So that was a good thing. Then I went to Venezuela and we won it all in the Caribbean Series. So in that particular year, we won the World Series in the United States and we won it in the Latin American countries too. So that was pretty much a full circle year for me, if you will. But to answer your question about Davey Lopes, all I can remember is the front of the paper in the LA Times, I believe, on opening day. It had a picture of me, a caricature of me gingerly stepping in to these gigantic baseball spikes, and they said Lopes on the side of them. So it's like me trying to fill those shoes, right? So to your question is, I didn't really try to be anything but myself. I didn't try to be Davey Lopes, and Davey Lopes was a great guy. He really helped me a lot as far as my entree to the Dodgers. He showed me a lot about base stealing and different things, and he was a real professional. So I didn't try to be Davey Lopes. I just tried to be myself, and I didn't want that added pressure.
That's a heck of a way to put it. And, like Larry said, when you look at the scope of that infield, but that team overall, what was it like to play behind pitchers like Fernando, pitchers like Oral Hershiser? The rotation that you guys had throughout that entire stretch was, I feel like, one of the most consistent for that entire period of time.
Yeah, and Jerry Royce, guys like that. I mean, it was Bert Hooton was there, Bobby Welch. We had an amazing pitching staff, and if you fast forward that not only to 81 but to 88, that has been the mantra of this organization, to be steeped in pitching, as it is with other organizations of the same ilk, like the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. Those teams pretty much are built the same way the Dodgers are, steeped in pitching, and then you work from there. And that's what we had in 88 as well, when we won the World Series with not a real talented team, but great pitching, and we played really good defense. And that's why we won the World Series in that year.
Steve, early on, I have to ask you this because I remember it like it was yesterday. As a player, I know what it was like as a fan, but as a player, what was Fernando Mania like?
It was incredible. Fernando single-handedly took that organization and shot it to a different level, elevated that organization from what was, I think, before Fernando got there, the fan base in Los Angeles was about 25% Hispanic, and now it's 50%, and that's largely in part because of Fernando Valenzuela. He transformed that organization from doing just under 3 million people a year, or 2.5 million people a year, to well over 3.6 million, I think we had in 1982, and that was mostly because of Fernando Valenzuela. He was a once in a generation type of a player. He was a great athlete. He was a pinch hitter for our team as well. But what a pitcher! It was great to play behind him.
Larry, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was waiting. Steve, I watched you, not just in LA. I watched you in New York, and you get to play in probably the two biggest. I think they are the two biggest media markets in Major League Baseball. I mean, people don't know what it's like to play in, necessarily, unless you play for those teams, what it's like to play with all that extra media attention. What are some of the things you did to kind of take that pressure off yourself?
Well, you can add Chicago in there, so it's probably three of the biggest media markets. But when and people ask me, what's the difference between LA and Chicago, LA and New York? I can say that it was a lot easier playing in New York than it was in Los Angeles, I felt. And one of the reasons why is I had a meeting when I first signed with the Yankees. They do the press conference, and I had a little message for the press. They were all there, and I said, look, I know you guys got a job to do, and I do as well, and I'll respect your job. I'll always be there to answer questions on the days where I'm horrible. But if you guys do something quick and slide, rip me behind my back, or try to cause dissension with me and my teammates, I won't talk to you. And if I get this game-winning hit in the 7th game of the World Series, I'm not going to talk to you then either. So I'll respect you and I'll be there, but don't do anything sneaky on me. And I had a wonderful relationship with the press in New York. Tremendous. And I kept my word. When I had bad games, I was right in front of my locker. I didn't run, didn't go to the locker room or the training room. I answered the questions, and we had a great relationship.
Now, Steve, if you don't mind me asking, I know you played with a couple of different teams, but are you rooting for the Dodgers right now? Do you have a specific team that you root for? I know you played for a couple.
Well, yeah, I look at the Yankees and I think I can't believe they're in last place, and I don't think they're going to end up there. I think a lot's going to change for them. And I also am not rooting for the Red Sox because my nephew is in AAA with the Red Sox at Worcester, and I think he should be on the team right now. He's killing it, and I don't know why he's not on the team. But so I'm not voting for them because I want my nephew to get up in the big leagues. And then the other way is I have a lot of friends with the Dodgers. I'm throwing out the first pitch tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. So, I still have a great relationship there. So I like all the teams I played with, but I don't know which one I can say I like the most.
All right, my friend. Well,
one thing, Steve, real quick,
Brad.
Steve, I wanted to ask you, if I could. When you look at the landscape of Los Angeles as a whole right now, how good is it for the Angels to be buying like they are, opposite the Dodgers buying like we thought they would?
Well, the Angels are right. The Angels are in purgatory right now, as far as I'm concerned, because they got a team that can really score runs when they're with it. They got two of the greatest players on the planet. This team, and I'm going to shout it from the highest mountain, this team needs pitching. We've been saying this for decades. The team needs pitching, and they get it. They know. I know they know. They went out and drafted every single guy the year before last. Everyone was a pitcher. That was good. So you know what? They're only 4.5 out. I think in the wild card, they're 3 out. So they're right there. I mean, something could happen. But every team needs arms, and I'm surprised a little bit that the Dodgers, had let Syndergaard go. I know he's with Cleveland now, but every team needs arms, and I think down the stretch, whoever pitches the best wins.
Well, listen, my friend, we could talk to you all day, but I know you don't have a lot of time. I do want to congratulate you on throwing out the first pitch tomorrow night for the Dodgers. I'm sure most of you that have the MLB ticket, like I do, can watch them throw out the first pitch if you want. But
I'm going to throw a laser.
Oh, is it going to be a fastball or curve?
I'm gonna throw a laser. I'm gonna just absolute laser.
High heat. All right.
Bingo.
I guess he's living in today's times, I guess.
Yeah, I got to go practice.
Forget about the curveball, Ricky. Give him the heater.
Give him the heater.
All right, Steve. Right. Thanks so much for taking time out of what I know is a busy schedule to join.
No problem. Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Enjoyed it.